2 mailings and 3 visits?
Yes, we'll visit
Okay.
3 times.
Okay.
And on that 4th time, we're gonna go to that neighbor to try and ascertain that information. And if we can't get that information from that neighbor, then that house is gonna be closed to the bureau.
So what does the census do with the data they collect? What difference did, what Ray's saying, why they need to know that?
Well, it helps design programs. It's used for planning. It's used for
Take the fear out
representation.
of it and give us the head count.
If we didn't have that breakdown in, between the races, we couldn't do the commissioner districts. We couldn't do the Board of Education districts.
We don't do it on census.
Yes, you do.
Yes, it is based on census
It's
too.
based on redistricting and how much
Based on
funding.
Because that's
we
why
have.
the numbers have to be in the president's office by the end of this year. By December the 31st, the numbers have to be in his office. And then the first count that comes out is the legal data that's used to do the redistricting. But almost every almost every program, I would say all programs, that receive federal and state funding have some kind of population count that relies on the census form to determine how much money you're gonna receive. Now, one of the issues for Bladen is the 2018 estimates that came out from the Census Bureau showed that you were gonna lose about 2,000 people. When you ask about the numbers that are associated with a person as far as what a person represents in money, we use the figure $1,823, which is federal and state monies. That means for that first year that you miss, if it's just 2,000 people that you've gone down, that's a little over $3 million that you've missed in funding. But you're gonna keep that number, that census number is going to affect your funding for the next 10 years. So now we're looking at $30 million that you're losing because somebody didn't fill out a census form.
So for that reason though, the return on our investment of putting money out to get boots on the ground will really pay off.
Sure.
Y'all got boots on the ground. We don't need boots, do we?
No, the census is gonna be paying for the
Pay for the
enumerators.
boots on the
Right.
ground.
Well, we're talking, what Demario was alluded to earlier, about how some counties are putting, money into that time. And, well, when our complete count committee meets again in, January 30th, we're gonna come up with, a budget, see, how much money do, we think we need, do we wanna spend, what we wanna spend it on? And, yes, so we'll come back at the next meeting on that.
And on those home visits, he was talking about $65, and you can go to the home 3 times. Is that $65 times 3?
Every time estimates show that every time we knock on a citizen's door, it costs the federal government between $60 and $75 per knock on the door.
And another thing is, as far as, we need census workers, so if you know folks out in the community, because those are the folks that the census wants to hire, people that are in your community, so that's a familiar face.
Mr. Chair, my only comment I want to say too though is, you say go to the churches and you want to do it online. If you go to the communities, you're right, there's no technology,
Right.
so those workers have laptops and stuff.
We're at, the census people will have, they'll be able to assist you in answering the questions
Yeah.
on the census form.
And they're actually in the process now of establishing what's called QACs, questionnaire assistance centers, and I'll be leaving Florida for training on that. So they're in the process now of identifying areas. We have a map, not to sound big brotherish, but we've identified areas that have low to no internet connectivity, and the goal is to hopefully set up some of those QACs within those census tract areas to capture those low response areas, target those areas to make sure. And so what they're doing in, say, like a couple of my other counties, they've identified low response areas using our Rome, and what they're gonna do is they, with signs, they're gonna kind of like flock that community, like flocking flamingos. They're gonna just put a bunch of census signs, and then they're gonna be moving it from area to area over the course of days to kind of gin up publicity. So it just requires thinking outside of the box.
He probably touched on what I was gonna say, but the thing about it, the census day is April 1st, and that's a Sunday, and that's April Fool. So, a lot of people gonna have that problem as well. But I was thinking about the Wi-Fi, we encourage our churches to let the public on first, that's first Sunday too, I believe, to let them use their Wi-Fi, and also encourage our citizens to go, those that do not have Wi-Fi, to go by the library. In the library, it won't be open on that Sunday though, but they can go that Monday by the library.
April the 1st is on a Wednesday, but if you'll, the Complete Count Committee has recommended that March the 28th, which is a Sunday, be designated as Census Sunday.
29.
And when, is it the 29th? Okay, we need a calendar. When we come back to you in February, we'd like for you to adopt a resolution declaring that as Census Sunday throughout the county. We'd like to get as many flyers as possible to the churches for them to include in their bulletin, and to have volunteers in the churches from the congregation with people that members trust to help them fill out their forms, because
I think it would be appropriate that we ask the county manager if he could send a letter to all the pastors and explain to them the importance of, and what it will assist our citizens in our county, because in every church, there's a lot of people that have needs from our government and our services that we offer. And this fund directly supports with that, and I think we owe it to ourselves and those citizens to get that out, and that'd be a good start to get it in the churches through the pastors. Yes, sir.
So,
Mr.
Mr.
Carter.
Mayor, to make sure that I'm understanding, in 2010, they sent me an envelope to my mailbox.
to your PO box.
To my house.
Your
house.
house, okay.
They sent me a packet with all that information in it, and I had to fill it out. What you're saying this year is, one would not come to my mailbox. I would need to go online and fill mine out online for my household if I have the internet access.
Now,
But if I don't do it on the internet, what's gonna happen then?
you can request that a written form be mailed to your address, but you have to call or go online and request that.
But if you're gonna take the time to make the call to request the survey, that same amount of time, you can just complete it over the phone. So that's why we're encouraging the public to utilize those first two options. The third one is just for any individual applicants.
So you're saying I can use the internet if I want to, to say I can do my household over the internet?
Yes, sir.
Or either I can pick up the telephone as the next step and call and say, I wanna do it over the telephone.
And
And
that's,
if that doesn't work, then what happens next?
if you don't respond either of those three ways, then you're gonna get a knock on the door.
Okay.
And that's when the numerator, that's the first between $60 and $75 we're gonna spend trying to make sure that we count everybody. And then we'll come back a second time, and then we'll come back a third time, and then we go into that neighbor's house on the fourth time. And then by that time, we've exhausted pretty much all our means, we're gonna shut that house down, and no more staff is gonna go to that house. So technically, that individual or that household does not count for this 2020 decennial census.
You have to ask yourself, how many people in Bladen County, we have an older population, are going to open their door to a knock? I mean, that's a real problem, especially in our senior centers, the apartment complexes. So that's why we're trying to get that word out. We've got some community-based organizations that have been extremely helpful, where some of our county agencies have volunteered to set, like social services and the health department, have said that they would have computers available to folks that are coming in for their services, and they'll help them, if they ask for their help, they'll help them fill out that form.
Another problem that I see that you have with some of the procedure already, if you're not getting a mail, I mean, how do they even know the number and the information to call if, like she said, the senior can even make that call?
all that information is gonna be pushed out the closer we get to the
By
time.
mailing
Website
something
is
to the
active.
house?
We didn't wanna put out a website and have individuals going to it now to complete.
But no mailing coming to the rural post office box, say, this is the number you call for your census.
Not at this post office.
The
I've seen it
rural
going down in
addresses
numbers.
that have a physical address, and that's how they receive their mail, they'll get something. The PO boxes, those homes will be placarded by the numerators.
Precisely. But that also gives us another opportunity to put up advertisement in the post offices, put up advertisement in those rural community centers, to go out and be proactive in reaching those people and engaging them where they are. And that's the beauty of having that complete count committee and those trusted voices from that community. Because the more and more people hear us saying that the census is important, and this is how it's gonna impact your life, the light's gonna go, come on, and then they're gonna say, well, ding, 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 I need to complete this census because I represent family coming back. I represent, potentially 2 or 3 pre-K seats because I have a newborn and a 2-year-old. So if you put it on the local level, this informs, in some cases, how many pre-K and kindergarten seats you have. This informs how much money you get for your food program. This informs the formula or the equation that's used to determine how much TANF and SNAP comes back to your local area and things like that. If you put it where the goats can get it, more people will be more likely to respond, be it in the rural areas or not, as long as they hear that proper messaging coming from the local trusted officials.
So what I'm saying is just like this cell phone. If I want to go register my grandmother, I can take my cell phone to her house, and any person could take a cell phone, and it's accessible through the cell phone,
Yes, sir.
that they can register that person's house
Yes, sir.
with a cell phone.
Yes. I think we would be remiss, and Demario can't say this because he works for the Census Bureau, but I think as rural areas, we have to understand that this is another example of how everybody's up there talking about rural areas.
Well, you know, I don't know, this is one person speaking, but we live in a day and time now that we're so worn by the media, law enforcement, and all the fraud that comes to our doors for seniors or for any residents, from false vacuum cleaner people and all, and fraud at the Social Security and all these frauds that I think your 3 times, I think your $200-some is gonna come very much, because the 3 times I think you come, because they're not gonna answer the door, and they're feared to, and they're feared to because the media and law enforcement has told them to be feared. So, you know, I think we got an uphill battle here, so you're right, we got to get the word to them somehow, but I think this is a tough marketing procedure that has been done.
But I think that's why it's important that our local citizens, if you live in this community, people know you, then they may open the door. Because I do know, we've a couple on our end that are working with the census. They've been out to our events and talking about it.
Right.
So, but we need to make sure that they're local.
Well,
Nobody's gonna open the door otherwise.
Baltimore Center has been
Right.
so aggressive in their attack on the census. If we could replicate that in some of our other communities, that would be great.
One more question, Mr. Good.
How are you gonna handle your rest home population? Because, you know, a lot of those people, their house may have been sold, and actually that's where they live, is in a rest home.
They are considered special populations, and the Census Bureau goes into those facilities and does the count themselves.
It's like dormitories and hospitals.
But dormitories, if you have a college student, the census rule is that college student is counted where they go to school.
Unless they're in that, at their house on that day.
Right.
Where you are on April 1st.
That's right.
But I'll share with you what an old-timer census person that retired told me. Nobody goes behind you and checks your form.
Right.
So,
Thank y'all for coming.
Thank you.
and we'll be back.
We'll
to
be back,
ask
we'll be
for
at ask
money.
for money, yeah.
All right.
Thank you. Nice having you too, sir.
Thank you, sir. Anytime.
Yes, sir. Advisory board appointment for consideration in January 21st, 2020, Airport Field Board. We got a motion by Mr. Peterson, we got a second by Mr. Gooden. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? So moved. Child Facility Prevention Team. Got a motion to reappoint by Mr. Dallas, got a second by Mr. Gooden. Any discussion?
Yeah, do we need to fill that, municipality slot, Mr. Ray? It's open.
Middletown Planning Zone.
Am I the right one? Child is in. Do we need to fill that slot? Mr. Martin, we need to fill that slot, it's open.
Which one is?
I'm not sure, though.
Municipality law enforcement official.
That's B. B, right?
That's the one we on.
Yeah,
Are we on being correct?
Yeah, we're on the child facility.
Oh,
Oh, the child protection.
there's a vacant slot there, so I make a motion, or Mr. Daniel, if you'll add Tony Pierce to that, just chief of police. I won't have to make that motion, but I think we need to fill it, it's open.
We got a motion by Mr. Dallas again, we got a second by Mr. Gooden. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? So moved. All right, Elizabethtown Planning and Zoning Commission and Board of Adjustments.
Motion to reappoint.
A motion to reappoint by Mr. Peterson, got a second by Mr. Gooden. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed? So moved. Advisory board appointment to be consideration during February 17th, 2020 meeting is Economic Development Commission and Bladen County Nursing Home Advisory Committee, two of those. Individual delegation wish to address the commission. Matter of interest to commission. County manager, Mr. Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The first item is to request that you consider approving the,
Yes, excuse me. We'll take about a 3 or 4 minute recess right quick.
Mario left some lapel pins.
Thank you.
Where was fried?